Folks, I see a big problem with a lot of the new listings today. I'll get into that and then the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending January 29th, 2025. When I say I see a big problem, I'm specifically referring to properties that were previously on the market. At the end of last year, they came off the market, and now we're starting to see a high percentage of those coming back on the market. So they didn't sell last year. They're trying again this year. I went to see a home last year. With my buyer clients, we didn't buy this home. With new buyer clients this year, just this past weekend, the home is back on the market. It's a home that could appeal to these new buyer clients of mine, and they flagged it as a home they wanted to see. So we went to go see it this weekend. And I told them, I saw this last year. My clients that I was with, we didn't buy it last year. The price just didn't make sense. But we're looking at it this year because the home may appeal to these buyers. Nothing's really changed in the area, but the price of this home has now been relisted at $40,000 more. Now this is a approximately $2.5 million home, relisted at about $40,000 more. There's been no change in activity in the area. It's not like other homes have sold for more expensive, were sold now. This one in comparison should be a bit higher. There's been nothing like that. The only thing that's really changed is the price. When I look at the photos online, they look the same. But we're at the showing and we're looking, and there has been a change. The change is actually not for the positive, it's for the negative. The change is that the home just doesn't show as well as it did last year or at the end of last year. Last year, it was pristine. Everything was in place. It was organized. The home was set up for buyers to come in and say, wow, this is really nice. This year, the new listing, it's not as organized. It's not as, it doesn't show the same way. It's hard to kind of explain, but when you walk through a home and, things are in place, not so much. Things are a little bit sloppy this year. They use the same photo, so the photos, it shows the same. So the home doesn't even show as nice. There's been no change in activity to warrant the home selling for more, yet they're asking for $40,000 more. I call the listing agent after the showing and I say, hey, I did see this last year. The price didn't make sense to us last year. I'm with other buyers now. They're kind of sort of interested in a house, but you're asking for $40,000 more. I'm trying to justify, I'm trying to understand what would warrant the home being priced higher this year when it didn't sell at $40,000 the end of last year. And the agent's attitude is, well, the spring market's coming and interest rates are a little bit lower now. That alone really didn't make a lot of sense to me because there's no evidence that prices have changed for that type of home in the area. But the agent is also kind of frustrated. It's a stale listing now. It's been on the market for close to 4 months almost. And you could tell the agent is frustrated when I put a little bit more pressure on him as to, but how do we know the market is going to be, how do you know the values are going to be higher for this? And I put a little bit pressure. How's the interest rate? Like, nothing has sold in the area. Like, how does the interest rate even change your price when there's no evidence of that? The agent's attitude really just showed a lot of frustration in the fact that, look, just bring us any offer and we'll work with it. Okay, so the agent's frustrated. It kind of looks like the sellers are also frustrated in keeping their home in pristine condition for close to 4 months prior, and now they're at this again, the whole selling process. My client's attitude is, my buyer clients, their attitude is if we do move forward and put an offer on this, they're not looking at this price. They're looking at the previous price, and they're discounting it further from there because they can almost tell that the sellers just, maybe are frustrated with the whole selling process. So this is a thing that we're seeing a lot right now. Properties that didn't sell, they were mismanaged from the beginning, and listing expires, they come back on the market. There's been no material change whatsoever, no material change in the market, no material change in the home itself. If maybe they, changed floors or did some painting or did something to warrant a higher list price, maybe you could see that, but nothing. The whole listing and the whole relisting is mismanaged, yet they have a higher list price. It makes no sense to me. But isn't that the definition of insanity? Like doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results? That's what we're seeing. These listings coming out the same way. Some look even worse now than they did before. And yet they want not only the same results, or they want better results than what they couldn't get before. The whole listing of these types of homes is being mismanaged. If you think this video can help somebody, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're speaking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, there's a link to my calendar in the description. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. Let's look at the numbers across York Region. Specifically, we're going to be focused on detached properties for Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. Here's a quick summary for 3 months of average sold price. It really doesn't matter what happened here. If you are looking to transact, if you're kind of on the mind thinking of selling, buying, what's happening, this part of the chart is the most important thing. What's the trend right now? It doesn't matter what happened last month, 3 months ago, a year ago. Right now is what should concern you the most. Average sold prices the previous week were down here. For all these 3 areas we're looking at, average sold prices have jumped up for the week we're in, January 29th. We're going to start off with Vaughan. Again, week ending January 29th for detached properties. 11 detached properties were sold. 2 of those were at $2 million or more. I put a kind of a question mark there because we would expect sales to be increasing this time of year. We see it in most other neighborhoods, not so much in Vaughan. Sales actually came down to 11. Average sold price is $1,685,000, but that's only from a sampling of 11. So be careful about putting too much stock into the average sold price right now. We need a larger sample of sales to kind of really see a trend. However, $1,685,000 is 1% higher than where the average sold price was this time a year ago. The median price is 10% higher. Median price is $1,652,000. 11 were sold. I got arrows all over the place. So the orange, that's the current this year's sales, or the most current sales. The blue, those are sales the same week a year ago. Well, if we look at November, October, the end of October and November, sales were outperforming sales a year ago, almost every week. This year, it's the opposite. The blue's much higher. Sales were much higher a year ago than what we've been selling so far this year. I don't know if that's a trend. I don't know if that's going to change, but that's what I'm seeing now. We have fewer sales this year versus a year ago. But the fall was the opposite. We had more sales this fall than we had the previous fall. So, listings. 55 detached properties were listed. We would expect to see more and more listings. Let's see what happens. But right now, 55 were listed, which is the same listings as the previous week. Active listings were climbing. It came down a little bit for week ending January 29th. Months of inventory climbed up to 6 months of inventory, pretty much a buyer's market. That's for Vaughan. Let's look at Richmond Hill. 10 detached properties were sold. So same idea. It's like, what? It's only 10. We did 15 the previous week. Sales dropped when we would expect sales to be increasing. But 5 out of those 10, half sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price as a result, I mean, if half of the properties are selling at $2 million or more, average price shoots through the roof. We're sitting at $1,919,000. 1919 is a crazy 24% higher than where the average sold price was this time a year ago. The median price is way up. It's over $2 million. It's 53% higher than where the median price was a year ago. 10 were sold. 40% of those were at list price or more. Listings increased to 55. Active listings is climbing, but just by a few new listings every single week. And months of inventory sitting at 6.2 months of inventory. Vaughan was 6. Richmond Hill, 6.2 months of inventory. Here's Markham. 11 detached properties were sold. So for Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham, sales came down for week ending January 29th. 11 were sold. One of those was at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,771,000. 1,771 is 3% lower year over year. The median price is 2% higher. 11 were sold. Close to half, 45% sold at list price or more. Listings has been trending down actually for the last few weeks. Active listings trending up, but not by much every single week, just a little bit. Months of inventory sitting at 4.8 months of inventory, at the top end of a balanced market. Here's a quick summary. Predominantly, you're going to either see a balanced market or a buyer's market. However, neighborhood, price point will tell you a lot about what's happening, and you'll be able to see it because you won't be experiencing the same thing in different neighborhoods. Price point, neighborhood, all that will let you know. Is it balanced? Is it buyers? There's some smaller neighborhoods. It could even be a seller's market in some of those. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.